Hi, today I'm going to be teaching you all how to make gorgeous earrings. For that you'll need earring hooks, strips of paper, really thin 1 mm wide, jewelry wire, tweezers, paper cutter, glue and any old regular paper. So let's begin. Now if you don't have thin paper, say 1 mm wide paper, but you have sheets of color paper, what we'll do is we'll cut them. I'll show you how to cut them in 1 mm size. So you put them all together like this. I've folded them so it's easier to cut and you get more strips of paper in one single cut. And what we'll do is we'll hold it down like this and we'll take a scale and we'll take a cutter and so there's no need to mark it as such. You just know by look and by see that this is a 1 mm strip or close to 1 mm. And what we'll do is we'll hold down our scale and cut the paper. So if you're cutting this paper, you need a cutting mat. This mat which is down here, and you keep on cutting it till you get around 20 strips of paper, 20 for one earring, so around 40-45 strips of paper. So you keep cutting your sheets and you're left with this really thin strips of paper. And now we're going to use these to make our earrings. So coming to making our shapes for our earrings, I have this one single strip of paper. This is 12 inches in height, so this is what we are going to use. This is around 70 or 80 GSM paper, thickness of paper. If the paper is thicker, then I would suggest you cut it in half, about 6 inches in height, and then start rolling it. Now what we'll do is, using a quilling tool is difficult on this, so I'd suggest you use a tweezer and keep your glue handy. So what we'll do is we'll hold our strip like this, a little bit on the outside over here, and you start rolling. So once you roll, it'll be easier, and what you do now is, after a couple of rolls, you hold it like this between your thumb and your finger so that it doesn't go anywhere or it doesn't unfurl, and you keep rolling. So you can see the roll forming. Once you reach the end, you remove your tweezer, and what you are left with is this, a simple roll. So handling 1 mm paper is a little more difficult than when you're using a 3 mm paper, but it's quite simple otherwise. So what you do is you apply a bit of glue at the end and you press it down like so, hold it down and make sure it's secure. So you are left with this roll. Now what you do is you press it down and you pinch it on one side. The side where you've stuck it, use that as a point and you pinch it between your fingers like so. Now what we'll do is we'll cover this up with a white strip of paper so that it gives a little more finish to the product. And now what I've done over here is I've taken a blob of glue and I've added a couple of drops of water, and we'll mix it with our paintbrush. Use an old paintbrush. Once that's done, you're left with all of these petals ready to be made into earrings. I've taken shades of blue, as I said. Some are dark blue, some are light blue, and the shapes matter like this because this is what makes it unique. Some small, some big, so it looks very unperfect, but it looks really gorgeous at the end, trust me. So we've had all these shades. So I've made a tiny white buds out of half a strip of white paper each. So each are really tiny, and we'll keep them aside for both the earrings, both the pairs of earrings. So we'll use these at the end. This is exactly how to make it, how I showed with the first petal that I made. Only thing is we'll keep these round instead of tapering them. Now we'll start assembling these petals into a flower. So for the assembly of the flower, I've taken this rough page and I'm cutting it into a small square. So we need 3 such squares for each level of our petals. Cut it into a circle. So this is what you're left with. So this is our base. Now we'll start building on our second layer. Now that one we'll keep a little smaller and we'll work on that. Now for the second layer, take a smaller circle of paper, apply glue and press in your petals. So our first layer and our second layer, this will sit on top of this. And now let's make our third layer. So the third layer is even smaller. So we'll use about 5 petals on this one. So you apply glue. So these are ready. This is material for one earring and this is material for the second earring. This is how it will look at the back and this is how it will look in the front. Now what we're going to do is we're going to assemble all of this. Now before that I wanted to show you, I've made another layer ready like this. Now this one is for both of these are for the back of the earrings. So the earring won't look like this from behind. We'll put another layer on top so that it looks nice and finished. So now what we'll do is I'll show you how I made this bud over here for this one. So I've taken 2 strips of paper for this. I've taken half a strip of blue, light blue color, and half a strip of white color, and we're going to quill them together and make this. So our 4th back layer is done. Now keep it aside to dry along with this. We'll leave them aside and we'll work on getting these assembled. So let's start with this. So you apply glue over here. In a circle. Now what we'll do is we'll take this in our hand, put it in the palm of your hand, and take the end of a brush, the brush which we used. It has to be blunt and curved, and you push it down like so. You give it a 3D effect. So while you're pushing down the brush and the bud, what you're doing is you're pressing the flower up like so. So you push it in and you press it upwards. You push it in and you press it upwards. So you're left with a lovely 3D effect in the flower, and a little bit of the bud comes out like this, and it's okay, there's no worry about that. That's the reason why we made this layer, so that it will cover it up like so, so nothing's going to be visible. Now you keep this aside and you allow it to dry, and we'll work on the second one. So for assembling the earring now, I've taken a 11-inch jewelry wire. I've cut it and I've kept it. Your tweezers, your jewelry hook, your earring hook. I've added 3 beads in it, and your ready quilled flowers. Now let's assemble. So for that, what we'll do is we'll start with straightening the wire. So you hold it in your hand and you push it through your tweezer. Just straighten it out as much as possible. Now we fold it in half and you start twirling it. Now we'll fold this in half once again. And we'll leave a loop below and we'll pass our first bead. I have these tiny pearls, so I'm using those. So the first bead goes through right at the bottom. And what we'll do is we have this quilling tool and push it here and we'll create a loop like so. Now what we'll do is we push these two together so that a loop is created. Now you'll take your flower, the first one, and below this, the last layer that we put, you'll just push it like so, and that's your first flower that is incorporated into the wire. You twist it a couple of times and you put in the second bead. That's it. Now once again the same thing, expand this . And our lovely earrings are ready. You can use whichever colors you like and choose your theme accordingly. Ready in just a few steps and really gorgeous. I hope you like this idea and I hope you make it, and if you do, please share the pictures with me. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.